To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
Shadows sleeping in the dead of night. I light the match, they fear my fight. Street light flicker like a war zone flare. They see me rise, but they won't dare. Some man cracks under my stride. Whispers chase me, they collide. Gun dreams heavy like gold chains. Every scar that screams my name. Be legendary, feel the fire in your chest. No second guessing, this is your test. Be legendary, break the cage and...
That is right. Welcome to week 2 of the Hoosier Legends podcast. I am Justin Spears, joined alongside by Mr. Mike Walden. Mike, thanks for being here this evening. Looking forward to another fun episode this evening. How are you doing tonight?
Doing wonderful. What an intro song. That was great. Nice job. I like it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was in the stew, as the kids would say, putting that one together all week. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, we're trying to do some exciting things here. So just a quick update, we've been working on trying to include more stuff on the show here. We're getting set up on different platforms. So let's just first kind of say, if you want to reach out to us and contact us, here's our email so that you see up here on the screen, Hoosier Weekly Podcast @gmail.com. If you're an AD, if you're a coach, if you are somebody that's got information that you think is worthy of being on this show, you can give us feedback, suggestions, ideas, whatever, through that email there that you see. That's one option. As far as a platform for the show, we've got the first show up on YouTube. So there's our YouTube location at Hoosier Legends Podcast. That's where the video of this will exist week in and week out. So we'll definitely have that posted up there. And then we're trying to be really active in putting stuff up on other platforms as well. So we currently are hosted on Spotify now. So if you search Hoosier Legends Weekly Podcast on Spotify, you can get the audio recording. I don't remember if I threw the video up on that as well. If not, we can definitely make sure that happens too. But we'll certainly have the audio of the show up on Spotify every week as well. And like I said, we're working to continue to get on other platforms. It just takes time to get assets together and get, everything lined up over there. And we're really active on Twitter. Now, Mike, have you ever seen those T-shirts around that say, "I still call it Deer Creek," right? We talk about,
no,
I'm still going to call it Twitter.
Yeah, I still call it the Hoosier Dome, even though it's been demolished for I don't know how long now. So
right, absolutely, yeah. So I'm still going to call it Twitter. It feels so weird to say X. I don't know why. It just doesn't ring true to me. So, but yeah, that's all the great stuff that we've got, that we're trying to cook up, and we got really great feedback from a variety of people over on Twitter. We got tons of people that added us already from Hoosier Legends schools and programs, and we heard positive things from in the building that we're in from our athletic director. So again, that's what it's all about. We're trying to keep it positive. We're trying to help promote and grow the programs here in the conference and really celebrate these young men and women for their accomplishments. So with that being said, Mike, I know you wanted to introduce something that we're going to start this week. So tell the listeners a little bit about what we're going to be doing each and every week here.
Yeah, so Justin and I came together and said, hey, let's talk about a legendary performance. Like, what kids are out there that's going above and beyond the normal? So here we're going to go ahead and introduce what we're calling, the legendary performance standout. And this week we discussed some really great people out there, a lot of great kids doing wonderful things. But we kind of settled on these 4 students, Callie Johnson, Cadence Steffi, Kaisi Steffi, and Kylie Regalado. They went and they are going above and beyond and showing everybody in the Hoosier Legends Conference that they are legendary. Basically what has happened is without them, Tri-West would only have 1 girl running cross country. Those 4 girls joined the cross country team and are playing on the soccer team. So not only do they make up 80% of the cross country team, but they were also 4 valuable girls on our soccer team that allowed us to have a JV program as well. So our numbers are down a little bit this year. And for those who don't know how cross country works, you have to have 5 members on the team for it to count right? So whether that's a dual meet, whether that is a sectional, for a team score, you have to have at least 5 runners. So without them, we would only have 1. They run cross country, and they also play soccer for us. Without them, we would not have a JV soccer team. We were searching for numbers, and I think we still only have 1 sub, and that is including like all the swing players coming back and forth. So from JV to varsity. So without them, no JV team, no cross country team. These girls are excellent students. They're great members in the classroom. They're great on the cross country course, and they're great on the soccer pitch. So big shout out, being legends, Callie Johnson, Kaden Steffi, Kai C. Steffi, and Kylie Regalado. So congratulations, you girls, and we really appreciate all the work you're doing for the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, and we have some boys that are doing that as well. On the boys side, my son plays on the soccer program. So Alex Matthews, Aiden Brower, Archer Lowe, and Andrew Wolf are boys who are also stepping up and doing that. And in fact, Alex Matthews, shout out to him. He hasn't played soccer much at all. He's primarily a runner and a swimmer. And he's stepped onto the pitch, and not only is he starting on JV, but he's getting some valuable minutes on the varsity squad as well. So I know Coach really appreciates his hard work and effort. So yeah, if you are, again, an AD or a coach out there and you want your players highlighted for being legendary, nominate them, send them over to us, let us know. Of course, we always are looking for scouring, the internet for those kinds of things. But the more that you can kind of help feed us with that, the more we're more than willing to push that out. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Kudos to those guys for doing that. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and transfer into probably the largest segment of the show here, where we are going to run through as much as we can from research that we've done throughout the week. And just so you guys kind of know, just starting this out, we're spending a lot of time curating this stuff, meaning that, we're going to a lot of different sources. We're trying to do everything that we can to promote as many sports from all member schools as possible. So again, if you don't hear something mentioned and you're a fan, parent, again, coach, whatever in the community, please feel free to send it to us so that we can promote it. Some stuff is obviously more readily available on the internet. Some you have to dig a little bit harder. So the more that we get spoon-fed, the more we can help promote that. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off with the Beech Grove Hornets. And so we're going to kind of save football for the end, because we're going to spend a little bit more time going through weekly recap and look ahead to week 2 here this coming Friday. But I do want to quickly shout out the Beech Grove girls flag football team won their season opener against Terre Haute North 46-7, their first program win in girls flag football. So shout out to those girls for getting that done. On the boys soccer side, they took a 5-0 loss to Cecina. They are going to be back in action Saturday against Lutheran. On the girls' side, the girls moved to 3-0 on the season after defeating Shortridge 2-1 with goals by Mencara Ortega and Ortega Aguilar. We're going to check back and see how they did. I didn't see anything listed. They played Triton Central on Monday, and I didn't see the results from that. So we're going to have to check back to see how they did there. Volleyball had a little bit of a tough week, not being able to get a win, but they play conference foe Triton Central on Tuesday and then play Tri-West this Saturday at Tri-West. So that's a rundown of what we have for Beech Grove. But before, Mike, we flip over to the Indian Creek Braves, I know you had a chance to get some valuable information from Beech Grove's cross-country coach, Coach Messer. So tell us a little bit about what the Hornets got going on with their cross-country program.
Yeah, before I jump into that, I just checked, and it does look like Triton Central ended up winning that girls' soccer match.
Okay, good. I'm glad we were able to get that in there.
Yeah,
okay.
Just to give you a heads up on that. Yeah, so Coach Messer is the boys and girls cross-country coach at Beech Grove. According to his bio, he's a Beech Grove alumni. He ran on the 2013 cross-country team from Beech Grove. So 3 years ago, he started volunteering as coach, and this is going to be his, or last year was his actually first year, so he's going into his second year. Some of the big highlights that he pointed out was that they won the conference championship for the first time in 17 years last year. And 4 of those girls recently took down a 21-year-old record in the 4x8 on the track and field. So that's awesome. You can just tell that this coach absolutely loves cross country, that he's loving what's going on in the program. He's just building it up. When asked, like, what's one word to describe Beech Grove cross country? And he said gritty. They choose to focus on doing the right things, holding up the program standards and expectation, and always going out there to compete. When asked about how can people come out and cheer them on, show support for them, he's like, there's plenty of seats at a cross country meet. All you have to do is get a lawn chair, set up, and just watch and cheer when they run by. I think cross country is one of those sports where they don't probably get a lot of people coming out, like fans, student sections, and stuff like that. So if you want to come out, you want to cheer on some high school athletes doing like one of the most grueling things, running a 5K, get a lawn chair out, have a sign, cheer them on. They would really appreciate it. Their big competition coming up is the Marion County meet, which is this Saturday at Verbuff High School. So that's September 30th. Please come out, cheer them on, and love on these athletes. So Coach Messer, good luck this year. Good luck in winning the conference. Obviously, we hope that you come in second place to Tri-West. But you know what? Seriously though, you sound like you're doing an excellent job over there, and a lot of support coming our way. So
awesome.
That's
Very
Beech
awesome.
Grove Coach Messer. So when you're transitioning to that Indian Creek, we're going to talk about cross country again. Libby Downty and Noah Greenwood both won the Indian Creek invite there. Libby ran a 16:59 and Noah ran a 16:10. So congratulations to them. Boys soccer defeated Edgewood 3-2. That was led by senior Aiden Long's 2 goals there. The girls soccer, they've been off since 8/19. They played Greensburg on Monday. Did you happen to get that score?
I have not had a chance to see what the outcome of that was. I will see if I can find that while you finish up.
Yeah, no worries. Boys tennis, they won the Warren Central invite, so congratulations to them. Going against the 6A schools again, and showing them what the Legends are all about. The volleyball team is sitting at 3-1. They only lost to come to Tri-West. They defeated Southwestern in 3 sets on Tuesday night. So congratulations to Indian Creek Volleyball.
All right, so moving on to Monrovia. Girls golf, I just found this a little bit ago, defeated South Putnam this evening at Deer Creek Golf Course. Avery Wolf was the match medalist, so congratulations, ladies, on winning tonight. Boys soccer dropped a match this week against Owen Valley 2-1. Girls soccer competed in the Lebanon Invitational this past weekend, where they beat Covenant Christian 2-1 in the first game and lost to the eventual champion Lebanon Tigers in the second game 4-2. Volleyball got their first win of the season, 25-20, 27-29, 25-11, 26-24 over Owen Valley. So congratulations to the Monrovia Bulldogs volleyball team for securing the win there. And that will take us back to Mike to cover Speedway.
Yeah, so the Indian Creek did beat Greensburg 1-0. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, awesome. Very good.
So Speedway, tonight is the night. So it's probably a little too late to, get out there since we're just now recording this podcast. But the stadium renovations ribbon cutting ceremony is tonight. So congratulations on Speedway and Speedway Athletics to get that done. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that new turf that they've put in, but you want to talk about something that just looks really, really good. Everyone is talking about the bricks that they put in there for to represent the Speedway, obviously. Speedway went above and beyond on making a really cool stadium, at least a really cool turf. Let's see, boys soccer, August 21st. They get the 1-0 win over the number 10 ranked 2A West Lafayette squad. Speedway soccer is on the up and up, aren't they? They're looking like the teams to beat. So let's see. The Plugs get they also beat Cascade 6-3. Kaiser with 3 goals. So congratulations to them. On Saturday, they tied Ben Davis 1-1. So they moved to the 1-1 for the season. Volleyball, they played Lawrence Central on Monday, and they were going to travel to Shelbyville tomorrow night.
Yeah, and just to, again, as someone who has a student child that plays soccer, Speedway's soccer program is legit. They are really, really solid. To get those 2 wins over West Lafayette and Cascade is a really good program as well. That's saying something there. So congratulations to those guys. All right, Tri-West here. We'll kick it off with ladies golf. Came in 3rd at the Mountie Invite this past weekend out at Crawfordsville Country Club. Talked to Coach Ellis a little bit. Was a little disappointed with the performance there. They were defending champions, but all in all, he said, it was a solid day. That can be a pretty tough course. They bounced back by defeating Beech Grove 196-246 on Monday, and then turned right back around and played both Speedway and Beech Grove at Brickyard Crossing last night and defeated both of those teams. So good bounce back wins for the Lady Bruins on the links. Boys soccer tied with Greencastle 0-0 last Thursday. Had a rough match this weekend in losing at home to Park Tudor 5-0. And then last night, unfortunately, dropped a really tough match to what I thought was a very talented and tough-nosed Greenwood team, 2-1. Shout out to Mason Mendenhall with the lone goal in that contest. The girls soccer team lost to Harrison on Saturday. Again, that was a dual match with our boys in the annual cancer awareness game. Freshman Hadley Pickens with the lone goal on that game. Tri-West will play soon-to-be conference rival, or did play, I should say, soon-to-be conference rival Greenwood on Monday. Boys tennis, although they went 0-3 at the Whiteland Invite, they bounced back to get a clean 5-0 win over Ben Davis last night. That's a huge win for Coach Walkie and the boys. I know he's making great strides with that very new program. And then volleyball unfortunately lost 0-3 to a very talented McCutcheon team. And they'll look to bounce back against Lebanon tomorrow night on the road. And I know, just as a quick side note before we move on to Triton Central, Mike, you and I were at that volleyball contest last night as it was a teacher appreciation night. And when we were watching McCutcheon warm up, I looked at you and I said, these girls look like athletes. They're big, fast, strong. Unfortunately, I had to leave that match to go back out to soccer before I watched it. But I mean, I wasn't overly shocked that we lost that match. McCutcheon had a pretty tough schedule coming in. I know Coach Padgett was a little disappointed with the effort last night, but I'm sure those girls will bounce back and get a win here coming up on the road against Lebanon. So kick it over to you for Triton Central.
Yeah, so before we get to Triton Central, I just want to touch back on the golf team. It looks like I think they've won every match that they played against fellow Hoosier Legends Conference members. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they're the favorite to win conference this year, which would be Tri-West's first ever conference championship in girls golf. So, really rooting them on, and hopefully they continue to do well. But Ava Donald and Hallie Phillips are leading those two teams, the team, both senior girls who have medaled this year. So we'll see if the Bruins can't walk away with the first ever conference championship. And
I was just going to say real quickly, to that conference championship will be held on Tuesday of next week, 9/2, I believe, at Sarah Schenck Golf Course on the south side. So we'll definitely bring you the update on that next week.
Yeah, so if you guys like golf, these girls play their hearts out. So please go out there and watch them, cheer them on. Mention back on that McCutcheon team. I think that is a 50-50 game. We talked about in football, like a pick 'em, watching them again, or watching it all the way through. That first game, the girls it doesn't seem like their heads were in it. The Tri-West girls made a lot of mistakes that I feel like it's just they were in their head. They just weren't playing very well, And then the second game was a lot closer. So, I think if the girls are on point, and like McCutcheon was, I think they were firing all cylinders, as the saying goes. I think we can compete with them, and it should be like a pick 'em The fact that we lost all three is just it's kind of amazing, to be honest with you, that we just couldn't get going that day, right? So I know, like you said, Coach Pageant was pretty upset with them, but I think they'll be able to pull it off. So Triton Central boys soccer lost to Oldenburg Academy on last Monday. The girls soccer played to a draw against Connorsville, and I think they ended up beating Beech Grove on Monday. Did you see that score?
Had not seen a final on that one. No,
I'll look it up real quick. Boys tennis, I think Triton Central might be the favorite to win the conference this year for the Hoosier Legends. The boys tennis went 5-0 against Heritage Christian. They went 4-1 against Indian Creek. Looks like Max Cruz and Caleb McGuire are the top doubles team to watch out for this year. And Jansen Caps is doing an amazing job as well. So kudos to them, and look out for how they're doing. Their volleyball team got third place in the tournament this weekend. They beat Speedway in 2 sets. And it looks like they swept Beech Grove as well. So congratulations to the Triton Central volleyball team.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of a quick rundown of what we were able to secure from this past week's contests leading up to and even tonight's recording. We try to do the best that we can to find as much information as we can to support all of these programs, because I know, as Mike has said several times, and will continue to say, these athletes are just pouring their hearts out into these sports. And so we want to try to help promote them and help, grow the awareness of the conference. And so again, the more that we can get, the better. So again, just a shout out that if you have any information, scores, top performers, conference standings, anything like that, keynotes, things that are kind of, interesting about the contest or series against the team, anything at all that would help, we'll gladly take anything that you can shovel over to us. So thank you for that, and congratulations to all the athletes on their performances this week, and keep pushing hard as we get ready to turn the calendar over into September, believe it or not, here relatively quickly. So, all right. Well, now we will transfer our attention into the second half of the show here as we take a look at football. And so let's kind of start with a rewind of what we saw week 1 of Friday Night Lights. And I posted up on our Twitter account that it was a really solid showing for the Hoosier Legends Conference in its inaugural week, going 4-2 on the week, and anchored by, and I got to eat some crow here, and I hope no one pulls up the tape from last week where I said that the Beech Grove Hornets would, probably have more than their handful with Greenfield Central. And boy, did they come out and just prove me wrong. They laid the beat down 28-9. Really solid performance by the Hornets, setting the tone for the week. That can be one of those wins right there that set the tone for the season. So congratulations to those guys on that win. That was dominant and impressive. Had an opportunity to see some of the stats that were put forward from some of the players on their huddle stuff that they posted on Twitter. Was able to kind of retweet some of that to give them some love. So yeah, that was really, really impressive there. So with that, Mike, what else stood out to you in week 1 of the HLC conference or HLC matchups?
Yeah, so like you said, 4-2, not bad. I think I called all those games. I want to do some self-bragging on that one. I think you also picked Western Boone and Tri-West to be a tight game. I said it wasn't going to be. I'm pretty sure I got that one right.
Yeah.
I will say that although I did call the Cascade Beach or Cascade Monrovia game, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but I wasn't be surprised if it got a little out of hand, and which it did. I think those Cascades looking, they're tough. They're going to be a handful for no matter who they play. Right now, it was Monrovia, but it'll probably be Tri-West in sectionals, and they're going to compete for that 3A state championship. They are just a really good coached, well-ran team. To give some shout out to the Beech Grove guys, they got the team of the week by Hoosier Prep Gridiron, so congratulations. Their team was led by Corin Parks with 158 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, and by wide receiver Woods with 203 receiving yards and a touchdown. Also wanted to let everyone know that this Friday is going to be an evening to celebrate and recognize the more than 120 youth football players and great coaches in their community. So come out this Friday, support Beech Grove, and celebrate all the youth league football players.
Yeah, and I think the other game that stood out to me, Mike, that I wanted to kind of highlight was the win that Triton Central got over Batesville. And I remember last week we were kind of talking about that in the prediction, and we said it was a close matchup last year. If I recall, I think Batesville won 21-14. And we said, yeah, it was probably going to be close again, but I think I gave the edge to Batesville in calling that game. But Triton Central with a gritty, not pretty 11-10 win. And Braden Brown was the hero of that game with the lone touchdown for Triton Central. And again, was able to try to give him a shout out, just saying he posted his stats from the game. And when you look at it and you go, it's an 11-10 game, it was just something like, I want to say it was something along the lines of like 18 or 19 receiving yards, but those could have been huge yards, right? That moved the sticks, that kept things going, kept the, defense off the field, gave them a break when they need to. Obviously, it looks like defenses were probably out on the field a lot, and so, I mean, yeah, you do what you can to win, and that, that kind of performance is what creates a winning culture. So kudos to Triton Central on that hard-earned win. Batesville, like you talked about, we know are acquainted a little bit with their program and what they could do, and so that's a really nice win for Triton Central to get that in week 1 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can beat any team, especially one with high pedigree like Batesville, that's a big time win. Especially Triton Central being 2A, Batesville being 3A, and they're always like predicted to be first or second in their sectional. So great win. Moving on to Indian Creek, they won their season opener against Western 20-13. I thought this game was going to be a blowout. I thought Indian Creek would just come out there and stomp them. But that new coach for Western, I think you've mentioned that he's from Kokomo, right? Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Had those boys playing, and that's what a coach can do. They can take a team who won 0 games last year and barely any games the year before that and make it a very competitive game to an Indian Creek team that is very well coached and has some great players as well. So, it's all about coaching. It's all about getting players to buy in. And I think here at the Hoosier Legends Conference, we're very lucky to have a bunch of great coaches, a bunch of buy-in. And if you want to see your team be successful, you've got to support the head coach and you've got to believe in what they're doing. And when you can do that, great things can happen. But I believe last week I talked about how that Clark-Ramey connection is going to be huge for them. And guess what? I was right. So just saying.
Yes,
actually, I got lucky. I got lucky on that one because I just knew they had a great quarterback and they had an all-state receiver. So I mean, that wasn't that hard to pick, was it?
Yeah. Well, if you follow along with us, that's something that I'm sure you're going to hear when it comes to football quite a bit. Mike was right because you know your stuff on that end. So
sometimes.
Well, and you did mention, the Tri-West Western Boone matchup, and yeah, having watched that game on the sideline, I thought it was a really good, clean, for the most part, clean performance by the Bruins. They went out and did what they needed to do. Obviously the Sorgi game, 3 touchdowns through the air, but he spread the ball around enough of a running game to keep him honest, I thought. And we're going to get into the previews for the upcoming games for this week, which I know they have a really intriguing matchup coming up here. But yeah, you just went in, you took care of business there in that game. And so, good job to those guys. Now, again, you talked about, the 2 losses in the conference, Monrovia and Speedway. Hopefully they can, rebound and bounce back in week 2. And so, hopefully you don't, usually week 1, even if you kind of take one on the chin a little bit, you can shake that off, say, whatever it was, hey, they were just better than us, or rust, or, we got to execute better. Like you said, well-coached teams will find a way to overcome that adversity. So with that, let's go ahead and start to take a look here at what we've got on the horizon here for week 2.
Hey, Justin, before we get into that, I just want to go through some stuff here too. For everyone listening, like, please don't think that we're just a football program. I mean, it took us like 27 minutes or so to get into talking about football. It's just, it seems like they're the ones that have tons of stats out there. You go to Max Preps, you see a lot of things. So the more that you guys can feed us, the more that we can see, the more we'll talk about it as well. It's just, there's so much information out there about football. That's probably because NFL is, the number one sports in America, right? So everyone talks about football, and then when we go into the winter, it'll be all about basketball, right? So please don't feel like you're getting left out or you're not getting enough love. It's just, there's so much information out there for football. It's easy to find.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. And I would just say too, I mean, also think about like in 2025, we probably wouldn't have half of what we have with these other sports without social media, without, like you said, websites like Max Preps and stuff to help, us to be able to say what little we can say about these other programs. And obviously, as we grow too, we'll be able to, get more time to dedicate towards certain sports. But yeah, you're right. It's just kind of one of those things where when you look at how big football is, you've got, like you said, Max Preps, the Herald site. There's a lot of, low hanging fruit there to be able to work from. So yeah, keep sending us that stuff and we'll gladly get it in.
So just so we can talk more about football, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Let's do it.
Just to, run down the scores again. Beech Grove beat Greenfield 28-9. Cascade beat Monrovia 48-6. Heritage Christian beat Speedway 36-15. Indian Creek with that win 20-13 over Western. Triton Central beat Batesville 11-10, and Tri-West beat Western Boone 35-7. So I also went ahead and looked up the stat leaders, because some people like me are really big on stats and want to know who's the ones who are performing the best. So I kind of got this leaderboard out here. Passing yards wise, we had 3 quarterbacks go over 100 yards. Leading the way was Jack Sorgi with 276 yards. Bishop Moore for Beech Grove, 227 yards. And Evan Clark from Indian Creek with 130 yards. We're talking about rushing yards wise. Beech Grove's taking the number 1 spot with Corn Parks at 158 yards. Diallo from Speedway with 145 yards. And then Pinkleton from Indian Creek with 130 yards. Receiving yards wise, Beech Grove took the lead with Woods with 203. Jack Scarver from Tri-West with 133, and Carter Cummings from Tri-West with 119, with Jackson Ramey in 4th place with 102. Total touchdowns, it looks like there was like 3 kids at least with 2 touchdowns, and that was Nick Bierman from Tri-West, Jack Scarver from Tri-West, and Corn Parks from Beech Grove. And then total tackles, multiple kids with 10 tackles or more, but the ones that are up here on the screen: Abe Haste from Tri-West with 14, Franklin Wilbrenner from Beech Grove with 11, Gage Tolan from Monrovia with 10, Peyton Hall from Monrovia with 10, and Dawson Ott with 10. And then we're looking at the sack leaders: Gabe Miller with 2.5 sacks in 1 game, which is incredible from Gabe. So congratulations. That's a Tri-West kid. And then a couple more: Ryan Woodrum from Tri-West with 1, Nate Chapman with 1 from Speedway, and Horace Colley from Monrovia with 1. And then 2 people end up with interceptions this week: Javier from Beech Grove with 1 interception, and Leighton Quinlan from Tri-West with 1 interception. So I know that was kind of quick, but those are our stat leaders after week 1.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, promote those guys across the board. So thanks for pulling that information for us on that. So, all right, let's dive into this Friday. We are looking like it's going to be another beautiful fall evening in the state of Indiana.
75 degrees, Coach. 75 degrees.
Yeah. You can't draw it up any better than that. Chamber of Commerce weather there. So hopefully we're still many weeks away from the nasty stuff here. So coming up this Friday, this is a rundown of action, and then we'll dive into breaking these down. Greenwood, future Hoosier Legends Conference member, will be at Indian Creek. These are all 7 p.m. starts. Hamilton Heights will travel out to Triton Central. Jennings County will travel up to Beech Grove. Linton will travel up to Monrovia. Northview from down near Terre Haute will travel up to Speedway, and Tri-West will make the trek over to the northwest side of Indianapolis to face Brebeuf Jesuit. So that is what is on tap this week for Hoosier Legends members. So let's kind of start by breaking these down. First up on the docket, Mike, we've got Hamilton Heights 0-1 at Triton Central 1-0. What are your thoughts here based on what we kind of saw from the little bit that we were able to recap about Triton Central and what little information we have early in the season on the Huskies of Hamilton Heights?
So it looks like to me this is a Triton Central game. I do think they're going to win. John Harrell has them winning 21-7. I'm going to give a little bit more support to our team and go 35-7. I think Triton Central is going to learn from a couple mistakes that they had and get the ball in the end zone a little bit more. I just don't think Hamilton Heights is the team that they were like last year and the year before, where they had really, really good teams. I think they've graduated a lot of players. So they're kind of down this year, and I think Triton Central is going to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at everything on paper, and again, obviously knowing that it's still just so early in the season, you really don't know what to expect other than what is in front of you. And like you said, all the metrics point to Triton Central being at home, coming off the big win against Batesville. Hopefully you don't have a letdown. I know that's a little bit of a, sometimes of a concern. I did not realize that Coach Abel out there, 111-40 in his 13th year at Triton Central, 236 and 138 in his 32nd year. You've got a rock solid man at the helm there. I doubt he's going to let that happen, right? So I agree with you. I think everything points to a big Triton Central victory come Friday night.
The one thing we have to watch out for, though, is that you look at Hamilton Heights and that they lost to LaPel 23-7. Mm-hmm. LaPel's quarterback is, one of the top quarterbacks in the state as well. Mm-hmm. So he's getting a lot of recognition from a lot of websites as well. So they did hold him to 23 points, but I do think it doesn't matter. Triton Central is just gonna get their victory.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next matchup. Jennings County 0-1 coming up to Beech Grove 1-0 at the Pit in Beech Grove. We obviously talked the Hornets up a lot for their really solid victory. Again, this is one of those things, Mike, as we kind of look at, again, the metrics and early, you hope that you don't have a letdown if you're the Hornets, right? You hope that you see the success that you had from the hard work that you put in overall. And I know Coach Mosley's probably talking to those guys about that. And I really think that when you look at this on paper, again, looks like it should be a pretty easy victory for the Hornets. Harold has them predicted at 31-7 victory. What are your thoughts? Anything that you would add to this matchup in a preview?
I really want to tell Beech Grove that this is a trap game, after coming after that big win, and that they have to watch out for Jennings County, but it's not. Jennings County went 0-11 last year. They're 1-30 in the last 4 years. This would be a huge upset if Jennings County wins. So I don't think they're even going to put up a fight. This is going to be a 42-0 game for Beech Grove. They're going to show out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those games too, where, you look at it and you go, if you have a game like that, what do you learn from it? Hopefully they can maybe get some of their JV guys in, and get some varsity guys a little bit of rest and get some JV guys some early season reps, because you never know with injuries setting in later on in the year, or when you might have to rely on calling somebody up for, filling in or what have you. So, yeah, hopefully that'll be a good experience for the Hornets and they'll be able to get that win there. Moving on. Now to Greenwood, who comes in at 1-0 against Indian Creek, who is also at 1-0. This will be at Braves Field at Indian Creek. This one on paper looks to be a pretty even game. Obviously, you have a little bit of a bigger school in Greenwood, a 4A school against Indian Creek, a 3A school. I don't know which way this is going to go, to be quite honest with you. The season or the series history points that it's pretty lopsided in Greenwood's favor. They're 14-3 over the last 40 years in this matchup, both being Johnson County schools. Last matchup last year, Greenwood pulled out a 41-35 victory. Harold's got this 24-17 Greenwood. I'm going to flip the script on that. I'm going to go 24-17 Indian Creek. I think this is at Indian Creek. That's going to give them a little bit of a bump there. I think that the boys are going to be hungry to go in 2-0. And so I look for what would be maybe you would call a mild upset with the Braves pulling off the victory here this week.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is going to be a 35-14 game in Greenwood's favor. Just going off that they beat Seymour. Seymour is always a really tough team. They beat them 38-8, and Indian Creek's got me worried right now. I don't know if Western was a fluke. I don't know if Western was just really well coached, but 20-13 game versus Western, and then looking at Greenwood defeating Seymour 38-8, everything's pointing Greenwood for me. And as you said, they're a big school. They've had the advantage. This might be like, they're in their heads. They're in Indian Creek's heads right now. I think Greenwood's going to come out and beat Indian Creek. Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Indian Creek gets the win here, but I just think Greenwood's going to have too much firepower.
Yep. All right. Moving on to the next matchup, you've got Linton Stockton. Showing it 0-0, we had to do a little bit of research here. Our crack research team determined that Linton played a team out of state from Kentucky last week, so that's why they're officially listed at 0-0. Driving up to Monrovia, as we talked about earlier, coming in at 0-1 after the loss to the Cadets last week. This one's at Monrovia. I know Linton always has a really good program. Their coach, Coach Oliver, is in his 13th year. He's 126-28. They did drop that game, if I remember you said correctly, Mike. Is that right? To the team that they played last week. Don't know anything about that. Don't know how much that carries over, if any at all. I don't think it does. Harold's got this. And it was a tough game last year. It was 22-0 last year. I don't see, Mike, unless I've missed it somewhere, his prediction on this game. But I am going.
Sorry, John Harold doesn't. They don't use predictions that they haven't played a game yet in Indiana. So
Okay.
right.
Okay. That's right. Okay. So, I mean, I don't really know what to expect other than probably a pretty solid Linton win in this game. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, I think it's a tough start to the season for them. It just kind of bad luck scheduling. I mean, I don't think it's a reflection on Coach Olson's team down there. I just think you've got two really tough matchups out of the gate. And look, we know there's two seasons, right, in football. In the state of Indiana, we're an open state. Every team gets in a tournament. This isn't like some other states where you have to qualify for the state tournament. So, you look at this and you say, these are character building games. You can't really look at the wins and losses, so to speak. You try to forget those things. You learn from whatever the outcome is, and you hope that it prepares you for postseason play. But for this matchup, I think Linton wins this easily by 2 touchdowns or more.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one. Linton lost that first game to Kentucky team. Man, I just want Monrovia. I really want them to come out and just smack Linton Stockton in the mouth. Like, if you've ever known anybody from Linton Stockton, they represent South football, Southern Indiana football. They live and breathe this stuff. They're hard hitting. They're going after you. They're going to go after your jugular. So I'd love to see Monrovia just go out there and stomp them. But unfortunately, it's Linton Stockton. They're an unbelievably coached team. So I'm going to say Linton Stockton, wins by at least a couple touchdowns.
All right, moving on to our next matchup, Northview out near Vigo County. I believe they're in Vigo County.
Yes,
at Speedway. Northview comes
home
in
of
at
David Goggins. if you don't know who David
yeah.
Goggins is, you know what I'm
Who's going to
saying?
carry the boats?
That's right.
Who's going to carry the boats?
That's right.
At Speedway, 0-1. You talked about the pageantry, the ribbon cutting ceremony this evening. A lot of hype, a lot of good vibes as far as what they're trying to do to build some momentum over there at Speedway. Unfortunately, this is a rough time. And look, this happens, man. You get homecomings, you get senior nights. Sometimes the schedule just doesn't work out in your favor. And I think this is, unfortunately for the Spark Plugs, probably a pretty tough matchup. But hey, that's why they play the games, right? So, I do see this as a Northview win. Harrell's got it 38-17. I would say that's probably going to be fairly accurate. Maybe Speedway gets a little bit of bump on the emotion of the night and everything of that nature. But I just see Northview being probably a little bit too much. I mean, they're a 4A team too, probably a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit stronger, faster. I just see them being a little bit too much for the Plugs on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. Northview has a quarterback named Colton Bath. And for those of you guys who are Indiana State fans, Coach Mike Bath was the offensive coordinator at Indiana State for the last couple of years. Great football family, just an unbelievably great guy. I've never talked to him several times. He was really good friends with my father-in-law, and his kid is going to be a great quarterback. He went 7 for 19 last week. And I think Speedway's going to have their hands full with Northview. I see Northview going 2-0 on this one. So, yeah, I think John Harrell's probably pretty right here, 38-17. But I don't know. I'll say 38-14 just to be contradictory a little bit.
All right. Okay. And our final matchup that we're previewing for the week, and probably for my money, the game of the week in the conference, Tri-West 1-0 at Brebeuf Jesuit 0-1, which might sound kind of eyebrow raising to some out there, especially knowing that Brebeuf lost to North Central of Indianapolis last week, 35-13. Clearly, North Central, a much bigger school, but not necessarily a football powerhouse. We'll just leave it at that. So who knows? Was that an anomaly? What was kind of in the mix there? I saw the highlights on Operation Football. I did not look deeply into the box score very much to kind of see, read between the lines on that. At the end of the day, my take on it is that's last week. And I really think Brebeuf's going to show up, hungry. I think they're going to be, they were probably embarrassed by that loss, to just be honest with you. So I think, being at home, coming off that, licking their wounds a little bit. They've got a veteran coach there as well. This is going to be a very tough matchup for the Bruins. Now, you're probably going to hear us say this 100 times when we talk about Tri-West football. If you have Sorgi back there, you've got a chance. And look, he's got weapons. He spread the ball across the field last week. You highlighted some of the stat stuffers that came out of that Tri-West Weibo game. There's a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And I know they proved me wrong by saying that was going to be a pick'em game. They definitely ran away with that. But Harrell's got this 25-24 Brebeuf, and man, I mean, I hate to, kind of play that cop out again, but I really do. I agree with him. I think this is a pick'em game. I guess I'll probably flip this time just to kind of be solidly in the camp of the Bruins, and I'll say they will pull off the mild upset win over Brebeuf on the road. I'll go 24-21.
Yeah, and once again, you're going to be wrong, so we'll celebrate that next week.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, I do think Tri-West is going to win this game. I hope it's not that close. It's all going to be dependent on their quarterback. When you were watching the game last week, you saw Brebeuf's quarterback start limping near the end of the second quarter, and then in the third and fourth quarter, he played through it, but he was not putting any pressure on his right foot, and he's a left-handed thrower. So he might not be out there. That's number 13. So their backup quarterback might be coming in. So they might have to regain plan. So it's going to be, whoever's out there throwing the ball for them. If it's 13, I think Brebeuf's going to be in it. He throws hard. He throws fast. It is a very quick-paced offense that they have. It's shotgun, one step, and throw. Brebeuf's running game didn't look like what it was last year with the senior running back versus I think they have a sophomore this year. So they're a little bit down in that way. I would say you have to also understand that North Central has a transfer quarterback from Cathedral. He's only a sophomore, but his name is Chase Grove, and he's right there with one of the best quarterbacks in that sophomore class. You have the other one down in Center Grove who's starting, that sophomore class all throughout Indiana. I think it's just a really, really tough class, a bunch of special individuals on that. So Chase Grove, listen for his name as North Central continues to improve. But when we're talking about Brebeuf, I just think they've lost a lot, especially if that quarterback's not back. If he's hurt, Tri-West is going to win this game pretty handedly. And if he is back, I still say Tri-West wins by 2 scores on this. So I'm going to go 35-14 Bruins on that.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is the rundown of week 2 of Friday Night Lights in what hopefully will be a fun and entertaining matchup wherever you find yourself Friday night watching football. Hopefully it is a gorgeous night for you, celebrating these young men, regardless of what the outcome is. Like we've said before, knowing that each and every day they show up on that practice field to be able to perform on Friday night. And so good luck to all the HLC teams that will be participating Friday night in their contests, and really, really excited to come back again next week and talk about what will hopefully be another winning week for the HLC. I know we're going to start to bump into some attrition here in the coming weeks where we'll start getting into conference play, but in this pre-conference play, hopefully we can represent well and go out and rack up more wins. Mike, before we put a bow on this episode, is there anything else that you think we need to address or discuss?
I don't think so, man. I think the legends are showing out right now, and I'm looking forward to everybody continuing to get better and win. So, no, I think we're good. I really appreciate you taking your time to do this for everybody. We've gotten a lot of good feedback. So appreciate that. I think we're up to like 100 views on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. Let's go Legends.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kudos to you as well for the effort you've put in and helping get this thing up and going. I really appreciate that. And thank you, as you said, to everybody who's helped spread the word. I know we've got a really awesome athletic director out at Tri-West who's helped spread the word out to other conference ADs. And I think we're going to continue to see more traction on the social media platforms and everything as well. So thanks again for tuning in tonight. We will be back with you again next week for another exciting episode of the Hoosier Legends Weekly Podcast.
Concrete jungles got posted beats. My heart's with the city.